In this etude, it's important to stay rhythmic and keep the time steady. All of these etudes have metronome markings, so you need to go the exact speed that is indicated. So I'll cue up my metronome. This etude is marked 88. Here are the first couple of bars. Keep your 16th notes evenly spaced and exactly with the metronome. Later, you have some triplets to play. Make a big difference. Make sure the triplets are spaced evenly as well, only now there are 3 notes per beat instead of 4. So I'll play the last 3 measures for you. First measure has 16ths, and then we switch over to the 8th note triplets. In the middle of this etude, you have the marking leggero, which means lightly. And for that reason, I would make sure that you're tonguing marcato style at the beginning as it's marked, so that when you get to the leggero, you can make a difference. You'll make that difference by playing a little bit softer and using a little bit lighter tongue. I'm going to start the measure before the leggero so you can hear the definite change right on the bar line. And we'll go ahead and cue the metronome up. When I have music that has awkward intervals, I like to think harmonically. In other words, if you were to stack the notes up, what kind of chord would they make? Now we can't do that because trombone is a single line instrument, but I want you to imagine the following notes being played together. Look at bar 3. That's a diminished chord, and that'll come back in the second line. And then 3 from the end, you hear it again, only this time the intervals are staggered. Here are the notes of that diminished chord played all at once on the piano as though it were a chord. The diminished chord is comprised all of minor thirds. And it has a certain sound to it. And it's spooky. You can also play the same chord starting 1 note higher. That in your etude sometimes, and then other times you have to use the notes staggered like this. Still the same chord. If you recognize the chord, it will make the notes a lot easier. By understanding the harmony, it can really help you play the notes right. So if I were just to noodle around that diminished chord, then I feel it in my arm. And when I get to those notes and those measures, they don't feel so foreign. They feel a little more familiar to me.